Now I've got an Oingo Boingo song stuck in my head.
It's my creation.
Yeah. Weird science. So when I was little, I already had dreams of one day being a cartoonist. However, like most children, I did have backup plans.
Well, your parents drilled that into you. Like,
Yeah, you can't do it.
Oh, cartoonist? That's adorable, but what are you really gonna do?
Well, like, my backup plans included being a stand-up comic, which was odd for someone who could barely speak, but also rock star, which I think is what my parents wanted me to do, was be a rock star.
I wanted to be a professional musician, and well, that was later. High school me wanted to be a professional musician. Kid me wanted to be an entomologist or an archaeologist.
I would have also liked to have been a marine biologist.
I had chemistry sets, and I was just really bad at chemistry. But my experience with weird science was I would take everything marked dangerous in these chemistry sets, which I would typically pick up from, like, garage sales, and mix them together to make an ultra poison.
Yes, absolutely. I also had... Yeah, because when we had children's chemistry sets, they were probably more dangerous than we should have been playing with.
I never found one with, like, active uranium in it, but I did find a lot with, like, do not swallow.
Yeah, and by God, how I played. And Mom had it even better because she had her childhood chemistry set in a cute little wooden thing, and it was, like, really, it was nice. Nice enough that we, like, still had the drawers and the spaces for slides. We used the microscope for Eve, for your movie.
Oh, yeah. I used to
microscope.
have one of those, like, wood cabinet microscopes,
Yeah.
too, before the red plastic one
Yeah.
became... Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the real deal.
Yeah. It didn't have, like, the lamp on it. You had to use the reflective mirror.
Yeah. So, I also didn't blow anything up or burn anything off.
I don't know about you. I could not grow sea monkeys to save my life. I was not good at that.
It wasn't sea monkeys for me. It was, first of all, I had a frog that was, like, see-through. You could see all its organs.
Oh.
And we got the tadpole, and then it grew into a frog. And that actually survived longer than you would think from the back of a magazine. But I also had, what are they called?
I did have a resin cast with a frog skeleton in it.
That's cool. But what are they called? The trilobites?
Yeah,
They're
it's
like-
trilobites.
Yeah, like tiny little horseshoe crabs.
Little horseshoe crabs, yeah.
Yeah, I had those. And then I didn't get the food, the refill,
Oh no.
so they started eating each other. But then eventually the food did come, and by that point, I just had this one really fat one at the bottom that had cannibalized everybody else. But that one lived like a really long time. It would just have to wait for the food to float to the bottom because it couldn't swim up because it was so fat.
That's, yeah, I think I never really read the instructions about how much salt to put in the water
Oh no.
for the sea monkeys, so I never successfully grew sea monkeys because I just dumped the whole packet of both in water.
They're some kind of shrimp, aren't they?
Yeah, they're brine shrimp.
They don't look like monkeys.
They do not.
Like in the slightest. Really,
if you want to
young.
ruin your day, look into the guy who started sea monkeys, because he was apparently
That's
not
true.
a good person.
That's true. But yeah, I was very young when I started my mad scientisting.
Scienting?
Sciencing?
Sciencing. Mad sciencing?
Mad sciencing. But yeah, I did want to be a mad scientist. Like that really was my backup plan, was be a mad scientist. Very specifically insane. Not just a regular old scientist. I wanted to be a mad scientist. And so in my bathtub, like that's how young, just in a bathtub with bubble bath, and I had this little table that stretched across the width of the tub. You know, and I'd use it to play out scenes with action figures and bathtub science with, like, little cups, and I'd fill a cup with water and gently pour it into another cup and maybe add some highly scientific bubble bath or shampoo because they came from neat, totally scientific bottles.
I just splashed in there, so you're ahead of me.
I had little cups. Science!
I had the little pills that would turn into dinosaur sponges.
Oh, I love those! I love those so much.
Do kids still have those?
I don't know. They're probably considered, like, ultimate choking hazards.
They're probably super toxic and poisonous
Probably.
to brains, which is why I am what I am.
We also still have a little Batman towel that was once a condensed thing that you put in water and it becomes a towel.
Oh, yeah.
But I like the little sponges, the little useless spongy things.
Yeah.
They were wonderful. I don't know what they would have been for, but I had so many of them. But yeah, so the fascination with fake movie science probably stemmed from watching films like Frankenstein and The Brain That Wouldn't Die at Too Young an Age. Thank you, Dad. But eventually I went full Dr. Moreau.
Now, when you watched The Brain That Wouldn't Die,
Yes.
did you watch the original or did you watch the Mystery Science Theater?
My dad had mixed feelings about Mystery Science Theater 3000. He loved the show. He didn't like the movie because they made fun of a movie he loved.
Oh, okay.
So, probably just the regular kind. The only time that my dad and I watched movies with someone talking over it, it was Elvira, which explains so much. But yeah, eventually I went full Island Dr. Moreau. Barbies became creatures with too many eyes, or Batboy, or a Ken doll just straight up tortured and hung on the swing set
We
like
still
pieces.
have a couple of those.
We do. But it was like an art installation on how the patriarchy fails us all. And my parents looked at that and went, this is fine. But, you know.
No need to invest in therapy.
Yeah,
Everything's going great.
and I do have some of those still, but these days, like, you've got Monster High.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I had Monster High, maybe I wouldn't have done it. Just saying.
You had to make your Barbies weird to
You
feel
did.
like they were your Barbies.
Yeah. You know, and then there were the chemistry stats we talked about, and what I would do a lot after that, like once I got a little bit older, it was food experiments.
They didn't do food experiments.
Yeah, it wasn't like with the chemistry stuff, it was separate. But some of them would turn out really well. Like, I made a chocolate candy bark and marshmallows on a stick.
Huh.
Yeah, you put it in the microwave until it poofs, and then you use a chopstick, and you wrap it up into a hard candy.
Huh.
The marshmallow part. The candy bark was just kind of whatever I could find melted together, so it was mostly like chocolate.
This is where we
and-
diverged, because my mad scientist thing became like survivalist stuff, building
Oh.
building lean-tos and
I did a
fires at
chef.
door.
Yeah, but yours, I think they're both useful in their own way.
Yeah.
Like mine, most people would call baking.
We've carried this on into our adulthood, because I'm still like very into survivalist stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that delicious blob. It wasn't pretty, but it was glorious. But mostly, my experiments were not edible. Even if they weren't like they'd start out as food and then I'd forget about them.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then my parents would find God knows what in the back of the fridge, mostly mold and learning its own language.
Oh no.
So the basement eventually became my studio and, you know, laundry and general storage area. But for a while, it was also a play area that happened to have spiders and mold and this kitchen set. Like, for children, it was a tiny little mini kitchen. But it wasn't, like, plastic or wood. It was made out of metal.
Wait, did the refrigerator like actually refrigerate? And did the
No.
oven actual oven?
No, not at all. They were just... they were thin sheets of metal put together in box form.
They were like the 1950s toys.
Yeah, and they were sharp. They were, like, dangerously sharp.
Like we had the kitchen set, but it was like the colorful plastic one. So
I assumed mine was a hand-me-down. Mine
yeah,
was
that
sharp.
had to have been found somewhere. 'Cause
Mine had rust on it.
They had stopped selling that well into our childhoods.
Yeah, mine was sharp things for children. Yeah, no, it was pretty bad. and this was an unfinished basement. My parents were like, "This is fine."
Yeah, I've been in there. It was mostly spiders.
Yeah, it was mostly spiders. But yeah, so in these metal fridge and stove, I would do more experiments because what else is the refrigerator for? So, you ever do this with a gummy bear? You ever put a gummy bear in water?
No.
You fill a little cup with water, you stick a gummy bear with it, and then the gummy bear grows 3 sizes, and
Huh.
and then it kind of falls apart when you touch it. It would just be this giant sticky mist that stays around forever, but like... Of course, I don't know how long I waited. That might have been part of the problem. Maybe it
The
wasn't-
impatience of children.
Well, no, I think the opposite. I think I forgot about it. I think maybe it wouldn't have just been... I think maybe it would have been like a solid pass.
If it wasn't sitting there for like 3 weeks.
Right. My experiments were never done with the proper scientific method in mind.
No, you never had a control. You just saw what happened.
Yeah, but, you know, experimenting is an important idea in life, I think.
Yes, proper experimentation.
Yeah, series of experiments. That's life.
Yeah.
You know, you don't necessarily know the correct path, and that's okay, because maybe there's no correct path. Yeah.
Also, always have a control.
No control. Rock on.
Rock on.